Elon Musk appeared to cash in as critics accused Trump's military campaign against Iran of ending without decisive strategic success publicly. The Pentagon reportedly spent heavily trying to replicate Iran-style Shahed drone warfare tactics through Starlink-linked battlefield systems recently. As Washington faced criticism over the Iran conflict, Musk's Starlink business reportedly secured dramatically higher Pentagon payments afterward. Musk reportedly repaired ties with Trump after their feud before SpaceX demanded significantly larger wartime payments from the Pentagon publicly. Amid growing setbacks linked to Trump's Iran strategy, SpaceX reportedly pushed aggressive Starlink price hikes during sensitive Pentagon negotiations recently. Elon Musk reportedly sent the Pentagon a significantly larger Starlink bill linked directly to operations during the controversial Iran conflict recently. Reports claimed SpaceX increased charges as the Pentagon relied heavily on Starlink systems throughout military operations involving Iran strategically afterward. The United States reportedly used Starlink services to support Lucas drones during military operations targeting Iranian-linked positions and infrastructure recently. Lucas drones, often described as kamikaze drones, reportedly depended heavily on Starlink connectivity for battlefield navigation and operational coordination missions. Reports alleged the Lucas drone was developed as a reverse-engineered version of Iran's widely used Shahed-136 drone platform. According to reports, SpaceX representatives met Pentagon officials shortly after military tensions escalated between Washington and Tehran across the region. During discussions, SpaceX reportedly pushed Pentagon officials to approve dramatically higher monthly Starlink payments tied to military usage contracts afterward. Reuters reported Starlink-related payments allegedly increased sharply, rising from $5,000 monthly to nearly $25,000 recently. Pentagon officials initially resisted the increase, arguing the higher pricing structure only applied to piloted military aircraft operations previously operational. Despite objections from defense officials, Washington reportedly agreed to the higher payment rates requested by Musk's SpaceX organization afterward publicly. Reuters described the pricing dispute as part of rising tensions between Pentagon officials and SpaceX over wartime operational dependence recently. Security analyst Clayton Swope claimed Musk's company now effectively has the United States government over the barrel strategically and financially. The pricing controversy emerged as Elon Musk reportedly repaired strained political relations with Donald Trump following months of public tensions. Musk strongly backed Trump during the 2024 campaign and supported several administration-led government cost-cutting initiatives politically afterward publicly nationwide. Relations later deteriorated after Musk openly criticized Trump's spending plans, triggering a bitter and highly public political feud nationwide afterward. The clash intensified further when Musk accused Trump of withholding files allegedly linked to Jeffrey Epstein publicly online. Musk also endorsed discussions surrounding an America Party movement during the peak of tensions with Trump politically across the United States. However, both influential figures reportedly reconciled following the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk last year. Their renewed alliance became increasingly visible as Musk accompanied Trump during a high-profile official visit to China recently this month publicly. Musk was also reportedly included during a strategic phone conversation between Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently. Analysts argued Musk's growing influence highlights how private billionaires increasingly shape American defense strategy and geopolitical decision-making globally today. Washington's costly Iran campaign now faces mounting criticism after failing to deliver a decisive military or strategic victory against Tehran reportedly. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has published a video showing its air defense unit shooting down a US MQ-9 drone, using the footage to highlight what it portrays as a clear breach of its skies and a successful intercept. According to Fast News, the drone allegedly violated Iranian airspace over the Persian Gulf region, giving Tehran a pretext to target and destroy the aircraft as part of its broader air defense posture. The downing of the US drone was also reported by Sputnik International on May 27, amplifying the incident to an international audience and reinforcing Iran's narrative of resisting American military pressure. Iranian sources said the MQ-9 was identified and destroyed after precise intelligence monitoring near Bandar Abbas, suggesting that the intercept was the result of deliberate tracking rather than a chance encounter. The IRGC further claimed that Iranian forces also opened fire on a US RQ-4 surveillance drone and an F-35 fighter jet, signaling a more assertive stance against what it calls hostile incursions in its vicinity. The IRGC warned the US military against further ceasefire violations, framing any future incursions or strikes as red lines that will provoke strong and immediate responses. Iran's guards also said they regard their right to retaliate as both legitimate and definite, stressing that any perceived aggression will be met with force under what they describe as a lawful defense of their sovereignty. Amid fresh US-Iran tensions, Iran has released new footage showing the wreckage of a downed US drone, turning twisted metal into a visual reminder of how quickly this standoff can escalate. On May 26, Tasnim News put out video of what it says is US drone wreckage, carefully filming the debris to underline that the aircraft did not simply disappear over the Gulf. The video showed charred metal fragments and a heavily damaged drone body, reinforcing Iran's claim that its defenses not only detected the aircraft but brought it crashing down. Iranian media claimed the drone was hunted down by IRGC Kamikaze archers, branding the unit as a specialist force capable of tracking and targeting high-value American assets. On May 26, Iran's Revolutionary Guard announced it had shot down a US MQ-9 Reaper drone over the Gulf region, framing the incident as a direct answer to recent US operations near Hormuz. Iran also claimed it opened fire on an F-35 jet and an RQ-4 reconnaissance drone near its airspace, signaling that even stealth and high-altitude platforms will be challenged if they come too close. The IRGC insisted that its fire forced the F-35 stealth fighter to retreat, using that claim to suggest its systems can push back against one of the most advanced aircraft in the US arsenal. Iranian forces warned they reserve the right to respond to any US violations, making clear that every drone, jet, and strike order near Hormuz could now trigger another cycle of retaliation. Backing the guards, Iran's president publicly hailed the military's defensive capabilities after the latest US strikes, presenting the downed drone as proof that Iran can surprise its enemies in the Gulf.
They did not imagine that our armed forces, our defensive power, and our offensive system could perform such feats. It was a completely surprising matter for all of them.
In the Ramadan War, we achieved a technology that targeted about 210 of the enemy's aircraft. And of course, by the permission of Allah and by their own admission, we were able to cause over $7 billion in damages to the enemy just in this matter alone. Or for example, the targeting of the enemy's stealth aircraft was one of the issues that was placed on the agenda of our dear people in the defense industry from the beginning of the Ramadan War. In less than 10 days, we mastered the technology that allowed us to cause serious damage to the F-35 aircraft and the enemy's advanced aircraft.
The latest drone incident came after US strikes hit targets near the Strait of Hormuz, tying the shoot-down directly to a broader cycle of attack and counterattack in one of the world's most sensitive choke points. Iranian state media claimed several Iranian nationals were killed in those US attacks, using the casualties to argue that Washington's actions go far beyond limited, surgical strikes. US Central Command, in contrast, said its strikes targeted missile sites and boats allegedly laying mines, portraying the operation as a defensive move to keep Hormuz shipping lanes open rather than a push toward full-scale war. Captain Tim Hawkins said, and I quote, "US forces conducted self-defense strikes in southern Iran today to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. Targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to emplace mines. US Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire." Unquote. The strikes reportedly targeted Bandar Abbas, Iran's critical naval hub and a major strategic military installation nationwide. The escalation followed Trump's earlier declaration announcing major combat operations against Iran beginning from February 28 this year. Washington claimed the operation specifically targeted threats posed against American troops, military assets, and regional strategic interests abroad. CENTCOM insisted the strikes were defensive measures designed to deter further attacks and protect American regional military operations.